process, as you can see on the side here, of restoring by replacing many of the panels. They were completely rusted out. You could put your fingers through the nose here. And if you look at this piece, which has this square door here with these slots, that's what you're seeing here being replaced, the door and the slots. We're in the process of replacing all of these panels, and then they'll end up sandblasting it with walnut shells. We use walnut shells because they're softer and they don't scratch the metal as much, but we use walnut shells to sandblast all the old paint off, and then eventually we hope to be able to restore her to squadron colors and make her a lady of the line again. On this side over here you can see some more of what we're doing. We just got the panels off of her and we're in the process of cleaning it up. Here, I'll just show you. This is the drum. This whole thing here is a 20-millimeter drum for the weapon system. It's a 20-millimeter Gatling drum that would fire a high rate of speed for the 20 millimeters that this had. Again, she's in pretty bad shape, and we're in the process of restoring her with limited money, limited volunteers, and limited time. Behind you, the aircraft that you see there is a MiG-21. Much like the MiG-15 in the Korean era, this MiG-21, when she showed up on a battlefield, was really struck fear and into our pilots. This aircraft could do Mach 2, could climb at about 50,000 foot a minute, very fast, and certainly against the 105, what was at least an equal. It was the F-4 Phantom and the F-8 Crusader which ultimately took this aircraft on to varying degrees of success. One of the problems we had were the fact that we had lost our ability to dogfight, and that's why we ended up with Top Gun and Red Flag in an attempt to teach our pilots how to dogfight when missiles or rockets wouldn't do the trick, and you had to close in to the enemy to do air combat maneuvering. I know it's tight in here, but we're going to go around the corner and look at another aircraft. One we're passing by here is called F-101 Voodoo. Huge aircraft for its time, but it was built in the late 50s and early 60s, and it was just a large aircraft for its time. The aircraft I really want to show you is this over here. It's called an F-8 Crusader, the first military aircraft to do 1,000 miles an hour. John Glenn actually set a cross-country speed record in this aircraft when he was a Marine Corps aviator. The Marines called it the last of the gunfighters because it was the last aircraft where guns, or in this case cannon, were the primary weapon system, meaning it didn't have missiles or rockets. This aircraft was very fast. 1,000 miles an hour at that time was an incredible feat, and those that flew this aircraft really took a lot of pride in the fact that they flew 1,000 miles an hour. To show you a little bit about what our restoration crew can do, this gives you an idea what this aircraft looked like when we first got it. Again, our restoration crew are all volunteers, many of them former Grumman, former military, former civilian mechanics that worked on aircraft, and this is their passion and their hobby. So at this time, we'll pause and we'll go over to restoration, and I'll show you a little bit about restoration. This is the last stop on our very brief, quick tour today at the Valiant Air Command. Again, I would recommend you come out and see us. We're open 7 days a week from 9 to 5, or go to our website at www.vacwarbirds.org. But this is where our restoration facility is and where our restoration volunteers work. Behind me you can see a B-25 Mitchell bomber that belongs to one of our members, Mr. Tom Riley. He's in the process of doing some routine maintenance on it and some gear work. The B-25 was the kind of aircraft flown by Jimmy Doolittle and the Doolittle Raiders. If you don't know their story, look them up. It's a fantastic American hero story from World War II of 16 of these American Army bombers that took off of an aircraft carrier to bomb Japan in the very early part of World War II. In fact, it was the first offensive action against the Japanese after the bombing of Pearl Harbor. The aircraft you see to the right of you is a Grumman Avenger torpedo bomber. Why don't we move around to the front of it from over here? This aircraft carried one 2,000-pound torpedo in the Bombay that we're going to show you, and it really flew at harm's way during World War II. You can imagine its mission is to drop a 2,000-pound torpedo against a Japanese Navy vessels. And to do this, you can't drop the torpedo at a very high altitude. You have to be right on top of the water. And you can't be 10 miles away. You have to wait till you're within range of the boat. Well, unfortunately, when you're within range of the boat was within range of you. If you had the choice of flying fighters in the Navy, or dive bombers, or a torpedo bomber, you would not want to select the torpedo bomber. These guys really had a lot of losses. In the Battle of Midway, there's a very famous naval aviator by the name of Ensign George Gay. He's famous because of his entire squadron. I think it was something like 18 aircraft. They were all shot down. All 3 crew members of each aircraft were killed. George Gay was the only one that survived, and miraculously he was picked up in the water after the battle. If you can look down here, you can see this very large Bombay here. It carried a 2,000-pound torpedo. And that was the mission of this aircraft, was to get into a position where you could drop this torpedo and have it go into a particular naval boat. We have several restoration projects ongoing. We have some painting going on outside, some walnut shelling. We're working on the T-33 Shooting Star. We're working on the A-7 Corsair II. We're working on the F-4 Phantom, and we're also working on the F-105. Inside here, behind me, you can see a B-25 Mitchell bomber. We just talked about the Grumman torpedo bomber, and over on the other side over there is an F-11 Tiger. So there's lots to do for restoration, and our restoration crews stay pretty busy. Last thing I'd want to say was that if you are interested in military aviation, or have a passion or enthusiast for these vintage warbirds, come out and join our organization. Relatively inexpensive. It's $100 for an individual membership for an annual period, but in return for that, you get free admission to the air show for the year, free admission to the museum at any time, discount in our gift shop, you get invited to members-only social events, you get a newsletter, and last but not least, you get promoted to colonel in the Valiant Air Command. So come on out, become a member, take a tour, see our facilities, and enjoy all the great vintage warbirds that we have at our particular facility, which is part of the rich fabric that makes up the Space Coast and the world-class destination that we are. Thank you very much. I'll see you on the other side.
Viewers, I hope you've enjoyed the tour that we've experienced today at the Valiant Air Command Warbird Museum. And I'd like to especially thank Colonel Terry Yan, retired of the United States Air Force, for this tour. Terry, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Hope to see you and your viewers here again soon.
It's been a wonderful experience, and I'd love to be back.
Thank you very
so
much. Take care. Bye-bye.
Well, this has been quite a little adventure for me, and I'm very grateful for the time and consideration that the Valiant Air Command gave to making this video.